Hello and welcome back to the channel. Of course, welcome to my home. Today I'm going to be continuing my stories that I missed whilst I was in London, and the story that I'm going to talk about next is about the Princess of Wales wishing England good luck as they prepare to face off against the Springboks at the Rugby World Cup semi-final. This is an old story, so I won't, obviously by the time you'll see this video, the result will be known. But I wanted, before I talk about that, to also talk about something to do with Catherine. So whilst I was away in London, we visited the National Portrait Gallery, and you'll see that in my vlog on my Elliot and Matt channel, my vlog channel. I'll leave it all linked. So I got to see some amazing portraits. Now, the one that I really wanted to see, there were many that I wanted to see, but the one that I really wanted to see was the portrait, if you remember, I'll pop it on the screen, of Catherine when she was she just married Prince William. She was the Duchess of Cambridge, and it was her first official portrait that was a painting, not a photograph, and it hung in the National Portrait Gallery all those years since, I think it was it 2012 or 13 when the portrait was debuted, something of that nature, I do forget. But it was a big scale portrait, and it attracted at the time a lot of conversation. Some people really loved the composition, some people really didn't like it. I actually really liked it. I thought it did look like her. It almost looked a little bit like there was a kind of haze on it, but it was one of those portraits that is meant to be viewed from a distance. It was big scale, and you're supposed to kind of like stand back to get the full effect. Anyway, I wanted to see that portrait, so I asked one of the guides, and she said, no, I don't think it's on display anymore. And I had heard rumblings that it had been taken off display to display other things. There was a portrait of William and Catherine, but there wasn't this one that I really wanted to see. So the lady told me that it hasn't gone anywhere, it's still there. It's being held in the archive, ready for a future display where it could be displayed. So they do like to change up the portraiture in there. But I also got to see some amazing Holbeins, the real physical portraits of Elizabeth I, Queen Mary, Catherine Parr. I saw, the Earl of Leicester. I saw all of these amazing, Henry Tudor. I saw all of these amazing portraits that I've seen in books. I've got books with them on the cover. James I. I studied these portraits at school when I was a child. And it was amazing to be stood literally inches away. I mean, I could have touched them. I didn't touch them, but they were so close. And I did manage to get a few video clips for my weekly vlog that will be out on Monday. So by the time you're watching this, it'll probably already be out, and you can go and see what I'm talking about. But it was amazing, just the level of detail in the painting, the lace, the feathers on the ermine and the fur. Incredible artists. And I think a lot of the Tudor and Stuart artists are very kind of overlooked, especially when it comes to portraiture. Anyway, I didn't get to see the portrait that I wanted, but I did get to see many others, so I just thought I'd mention that. Right, that was off on a bit of a tangent, wasn't it? So, now, why do they still keep calling her Kate Middleton? The Princess of Wales has wished England the very best of luck ahead of their clash with South Africa in the Rugby World Cup this evening. Now, I don't know if it's already happened or not, but anyway, the Princess of Wales. Okay, now they're calling her the Princess of Wales. And why do they always mention age as well? Yes, we know she's 41. Posted a message on X, formerly known as Twitter, sending her support for the Red Roses as they prepare to take on current world champions, the Springboks. Now, I don't really follow rugby, but I do appreciate the thighs. The thighs are nice. The mother of three, well, we know she's a mother of three, why do they do this, is patron of the Rugby Football Union, a role she took over from Prince Harry in 2020. She has cheered England on twice already during this tournament, making solo trips to stadiums to watch the Red Roses first take on Argentina in the group stage and then their quarter-final clash with Fiji last week. Like I say, I don't follow, but anyway. The men's rugby thighs. In her absence, she wrote a tweet to the squad wishing them the best of luck, signed off with her initial C for Catherine. The princess wrote, wishing you the very best of luck for your semi-final match later today. England Rugby, good luck, C. She added a red rose emoji to the tweet. It's understood that Princess Kate, I mean, again, she's not Princess Kate. Just the same as Princess Diana was never Princess Diana. She was always the Princess of Wales, or after divorce, Diana, Princess of Wales. Never was she Princess Diana. Anyway, Princess Kate will not be present at the match at the Stade de France in Paris this evening because Prince George and Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis are on half-term holidays. Is it half-term holidays already? I didn't realise that. Anyway, last week, I'm all out of the loop. Since I left work in education, I'm all out of loop when it comes to half-terms. Last week, as the Red Roses took on Fiji in the quarter-final, the princess looked jubilant at their win. Catherine, I'm changing them, they called her Kate again, was seen singing the national anthem at Stade de Marseille, may have been the Red Roses' lucky charm after she oversaw their incredible opening round victory over Argentina in the same stadium. Yes, England fared better than Wales, who lost to Argentina, while Prince William and George cheered them on. Prince George, who appears to have shown his loyalty to Wales, well, he's eventually going to be Prince of Wales, we think. It's not automatic. Didn't make the trip out today. Catherine was instead joined by Bill Beaumont, the chairperson of the World Rugby, and Rob Briers, president of the RFEU. So yes, I think it's really, really good that she's taking her sporting and military roles incredibly seriously. She's going to and attending events, as you would expect. Now, if there was an occasion where, for example, the Red Roses were competing internationally and it got to the point where they potentially could win a tournament, would we see Catherine going to see or to support them on at the tournament, like what was kind of expected of William during the World Cup, which he didn't attend because of other commitments, family commitments, work commitments. I say work commitments because it was during the summer, but there were things going on, even a rumoured kind of King Charles summit at Balmoral, which we don't know if that actually happened, but it was said that there was going to be talks about the future of the monarchy. So there were important workish related things going on at the time. Will Catherine, if it gets to that point, I mean, fingers crossed, hopefully the teams do so well and they might go to a tournament and potentially win the whole thing. Will she go in support of, especially seeing as there was much criticism of Prince William not attending the World Cup? Going forward, will there be kind of time earmarked for royals to attend these big finales should the teams get to that point? We're going to have to wait and see. I don't think there's anything else in particular on that article to read out. Now, the next story today is kind of one of those frivolous stories, but I think it's an important one. I haven't read it yet, so you're going to read it with me at the same time. It's about Princess Eugenie. Says people tell her she's better looking in person after terrible photos were taken of her when she was younger. Okay, so she appeared on the White Wine Question Time podcast and revealed people tell her she's better looking in person. The royal mother of two spoke about the pressure she feels running her own Instagram account on the White Wine Question Time podcast. So those of you who were kind of thinking, Does she actually control her own social media? Apparently, yes, she does. The podcast was hosted by Kate Thornton, as well as her own body image that she was talking about. So during the interview, she revealed her fear that she will be trolled online, and as a result, she carefully plans all of her social media posts and asks others for advice beforehand. I think it's a sad state of affairs we're in when we are being judged by our social media posts, and social media is everywhere. We saw in the King Charles III's Mansion House speech that, you know, he was talking about this. This is exactly what he was talking about social media, the role it plays, and the impact that it does have on our mental health. And it looks like the comments and criticisms that Princess Eugenie faced really has impacted how she feels about herself going forwards. And rather than just posting whatever she wants, whenever she wants, she feels like she has to get it checked beforehand and take advice from other people before pressing that post button, just in case that there's, you know, something that perhaps she could potentially get some backlash from. As a public figure, she also discussed her concerns that she might be sharing too much about her family life, which leads her to think twice about how and when she posts a photo. Again, second guessing yourself rather than just doing what you want to do. And, you know, we saw when she first had her baby, we saw that she was posting like little just snippets of the child, kind of in the way that Harry and Meghan did when Archie was first born. I think when it comes to social media, you should just do what you want to do and not be kind of swayed by other people. But that does take confidence to do. And also the use of filters, and, you know, should you use filters, not use filters, makeup, no makeup. I mean, I think it's a case of you do you. After growing up in the spotlight, Eugenie also revealed that people tell her she is better looking in real life after being photographed in awkward moments over the years. The royal said, "I do my own Instagram and I find it the most stressful thing in the world." I mean, again, if you don't enjoy doing it, then don't do it. It's kind of like, if you're not enjoying something and you don't have to do it, it's choices, isn't it? She said, "I do my own Instagram. Before I post, I text about 5 people to ask if it's okay. And am I going to get trolled?" I mean, you shouldn't. For a start, people shouldn't be trolling. But also, it's just a sad state of affairs when you have to consider that. She recalled one occasion when she had written your instead of YOU apostrophe RE. In other words, talking about punctuation warriors. They are out there, and was abused by Instagram users for her grammatical error. "I freaked out," she recalled. "Since then, I've been really particular. At least with Instagram, you can edit your posts. And I've been victim to predictive text. Sometimes predictive text kind of looks okay when you're typing it, and then when you actually read it back, it's not quite right. So you do have to check over what you're posting. But it's not such a big deal. I mean, come on." Eugenie also added she feels a responsibility to be respectful to her family in terms of what she shares on social media. This is what I've been talking about for a long time, and Eugenie has literally just confirmed it. The girls, Beatrice and Eugenie, well, women now, they are grown women. We should really stop calling them girls. The women, the blood princesses, have been so very careful and so respectful of their position, their family, and what that means to their position and family and state and the nation, but also negotiating their own kind of private / public lives with their charities, their social medias, and of course their work life as well. They are often find themselves between a rock and a hard place, criticism that comes with having a title, but then they don't have the official work that goes with it to be classed as a working royal. So they've always been a little bit negotiating a hard path, but they do it so well, unlike some other people that I'm not going to mention. I don't want to overpost my children or family life. I'm constantly finding a balance. Well, it is all about balance. After growing up in the public eye, she joked about terrible photos of herself. There's been terrible, ugly shots of us coming out of bars. People come up to me and say, you're much better looking in real life. Beatrice and I, like many of our cousins, have had a really awkward phases. I'm proud of my incredibly strange looks. I don't think they look strange. I mean, Princess Beatrice looks a lot like Sarah, and I think Princess Eugenie has that kind of... She looks probably a little bit more like Prince Andrew, I would say. But anyway, elsewhere in the interview, she spoke about her late grandmother and other members of her family, but I imagine she'll have been very careful with what she said. So she discussed her close relationship with her late grandmother, whom she calls one of the best people in the world. In an interview, she said... Oh, it didn't reveal what she actually said about it. Anyway, it might reveal a bit later on. She also said they discussed work in tackling modern slavery, which of course is an aspect of her charitable work that she undertakes, not on behalf of the nation and the state, but under her own steam. She has been part of the anti-slavery collective now for many, many years. Speaking about her work ethic, which she believes she has inherited from her family, the royal praised her late grandmother, here we go, and said she and all the grandchildren learned how to do things from her. Well, Her Majesty was a very good teacher. It's a shame that certain grandchildren didn't really take note. She also noted how her late Majesty's sense of humour often shone through, and she always was able to surprise her family. Referring to the Queen's James Bond sketch, of course in famous the London Olympics 2012, she said that she and the rest of the family had no idea their grandmother had filmed that bit. Well, I think we did know that already, that the royal family were in the dark. The sketch saw Her late Majesty joined by Daniel Craig, of course that skydive, that amazing skydive. Now the Queen did not skydive down. It was a stunt double. Nobody knew. It was amazing, she said. We were all surprised. She added she loved watching her cousin Zara Tindall, or Zed. Would it be Z or Z? Z, maybe. Or Z. Z. I reckon she calls her Z. She refers to her competing in the games and won a silver medal in the equestrian team event, which was presented by Princess Anne. Elsewhere in the interview, she discussed the ways in which she had been influenced by her late grandmother. She was just one of the best people in the world. Her sense of duty and dedication and her love of her people, it really happened in public like you all saw, and it happened in private with us. We learned how to do things from her, as well as how to talk to people, how to stay strong and dutiful and kind. She really instilled in us. When she died, I said to people how lucky I am to have part of her in me. That's true. I mean, Her late Majesty was a complete role model, not just to her family, but to the nation, the Commonwealth, and of course the wider world. Although Her late Majesty was not the Queen or head of state of, the majority of the world, people still look to her as I said in my previous Christmas speech, a familial face in an often discombobulated world. And, she was there, she was constant, she was dignified, she was dutiful. And I think that taught a lot of people a lesson, even if some people are not practicing it. Speaking of other family members, she said, revealed her closeness to her sister, Princess Beatrice. That's not surprising to me at all, who she described as a great mum to daughter Sienna. The royal revealed she calls her sister for nearly everything. I mean, I imagine that they're very, very, very close. Similarly, she praised her mother, Sarah Ferguson, for instilling a need to give back to society within her. Yes, Sarah is very giving. And I think, like I said before, the one thing that Andrew and Sarah have done right is to raise two beautiful young women who are very well adjusted and well grounded. During the interview, Princess Eugenie revealed she calls Tracy Emin Aunt Tracy after the couple became friends as English women living in New York. I met her in England, but we moved to New York at the same time. she became Auntie Tracy because we'd hang out in New York. I'd seen everything she'd done in 1997. Well, Tracy Emin is the one with the unmade bed. Most of the time we'd be going to her apartment, having dinner and chatting about her art. And we'd also go out and have brunch. I mean, what an amazing podcast interview. I think I may have to go and watch the entire thing. Right, I'm going to leave it here for today. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And thank you for watching. Of course, I will be back and I'll see you next time. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.